The Dreyfus Affair took place from 1894 to 1906 in France. The affair centers around the French Jewish captain Alfred Dreyfus, who was found guilty for giving the German army French secrets. He was convicted on little evidence and by anti-Semitist juries. The affair divided France into two: the Dreyfusards, who supported Dreyfus and believed him not guilty, and the anti-Dreyfusards, who believed Dreyfus guilty. The affair attracted more attention as more information was gathered and the media became involved. The Dreyfus Affair had a great impact on French politics, uniting several groups in order to go against the anti-Dreyfusards and prove Alfred Dreyfus not guilty. Throughout this presentation, you will see Alfred Dreyfus, the Jewish French artillery officer who is convicted of selling French military secrets to the German military. You will also hear about Hubert Henry, who later on during the affair admitted to forging evidence against Dreyfus and eventually committed suicide. Georges Picquart, who was appointed head of the French military's intelligence office in 1895, discovered that Dreyfus had not sold secrets to the German military, and it had been Esterhazy. This was when he became a Dreyfusard. Esterhazy had been the true author of the letters, but was protected by the General Staff Office and was not trialed. In 1894, Jewish captain Alfred Dreyfus, a French artillery officer, is called along with others to write sentences from the borderocks, also known as slips. This was found in the dustbin of the German military attaché or office in Paris. While Dreyfus was rewriting the letter, officers surrounding him detected Dreyfus shaking and shivering. Because of this, Dreyfus was immediately taken and arrested.
Alfred Dreyfus, a French officer, was convicted of treason by a military court-martial. He was stripped of his rank in a humiliating public ceremony in the courtyard of Paris Military School. And after the false evidence and the irregular trial, he began his life sentence on Devil's Island's prison in French Guiana 4 months later.
Alfred Dreyfus is pleading not guilty for the charge of selling secrets to our enemy. All in favor of Alfred Dreyfus not being guilty, raise your hands now. All in favor for Alfred Dreyfus being guilty of the charges? It is unanimously said Alfred is guilty. His punishment will result in a life sentence of life in jail in Devil's Island.
Alfred Dreyfus was sent to Devil's Island on April 13, 1895, and stayed there until June 9, 1899. It is considered the most dreaded prison in history, and it was a place where many murderers, thieves, politicians, and psychopaths were. The water surrounding the island had piranhas, and there was a dense jungle beyond it. It is also said that out of thousands of prisoners sent to the island, that more than 80,000 of them were never seen again. After 1983, the government of France stopped sending prisoners there, and in 1952 it was closed down permanently.
In 1898, Mayor Herbert Henry, who had been the one to discover the original letter attributed to Dreyfus, had admitted that he forged much of the evidence against Dreyfus and committed suicide. Right after, Esterhazy fled the country, and the military was forced to order a new court-martial for Dreyfus. In 1899, Alfred Dreyfus was found guilty in another trial and sentenced to 10 years in prison. He will still be charged with a 10-year sentence instead of being sentenced to life. We have also found that Mr. Hazy has sold secrets but will not be charged. In 1903, Dreyfus wrote a letter to the Attorney General demanding his trial be revised. In this trial, evidence was present that they found who the real author was of the letters. Dreyfus was then declared not guilty.
Edgar Demange was an interest to the Dreyfus family because he had no involvement in politics and specialized in criminal law. He said to Matthew and Lucy Dreyfus, brother of Alfred and wife of Alfred, "If my conscience prevents me from defending your brother, my refusal will become known. I will be your brother's first judge." And when he overlooked the documents and found the loose evidence put upon Dreyfus, he said, if Captain Dreyfus were not Jewish, he would not be in prison. This was a major thing to say because he was a devout Catholic, the son of an army officer, and married to the daughter of a general. And even he realized that Dreyfus was falsely accused of selling secrets.
Yeah.
What made you interested in being Dreyfus's lawyer?
I am a Dreyfusard, and I accepted on the condition that I would not find in the case a charge that could make me doubt the innocence of Dreyfus. And the whole time I worked on the case, I knew my client was innocent.
And did you know Dreyfus prior to the affair?
Yes, before the case became an affair, I was Dreyfus's lawyer for his first trial. I was also his lawyer when his trial became an affair.
Émile Zola was a French journalist who felt an injustice had been done and began researching the matter. He published a famous article, Je accuse, meaning I accuse. His research uncovered the whole plot that Esther Hazy and Henry were behind the false information brought as evidence for Dreyfus, and that the French military was a cover-up. Zola was accused of libel and brought to trial by Henry. In the end, the jury was split 7-5 against Zola, being a miracle that even 5 voted for Zola, although he did fear for his life and fled to England. His fear was justified after seeing the political cartoons of him, which was of Emile coming up from a toilet, holding in his right arm a doll, which was Dreyfus, with the caption, "Truth rising from its source." Okay. What is Je accuse about?
Je accuse is a letter where I expose the judges of unjustly putting Dreyfus in jail.
And what motivated you to write Je accuse?
I thought Dreyfus's treatment was unjust and unfair. I had the influence on people to be able to publish works and be able to capture their attention. However, not only did I capture the people's attention, but also the attention of law enforcement.
And what was your punishment for writing Je accuse?
Well, I was sentenced to 1 year in prison, but I got out of this by going to France.
Theodore Herzl began to see Dreyfus more as a symbol of the entire Jewish people who were surrounded by hatred and anti-Semitism, rather than an isolated mistrial. He began thinking about the solution to the ancient Jewish problem. He was obsessed with a vision of liberated people living on their own land. Yeah.
How did experiencing a first-hand event of anti-Semitism affect your beliefs on a united Europe?
Well, at first I believed in Jews taking a bigger part in European culture. But after witnessing anti-Semitism during the Dreyfus Affair, I realized that the only solution would be the creation of a Jewish state.
Did you have a relationship with Alfred Dreyfus prior or during the affair?
No, I had just taken an interest on his case, being a journalist and reporter.
What was Zionism and what made the Dreyfus Affair an important factor in Zionism?
Zionism is the movement to create a Jewish community in Palestine. I had witnessed that the Dreyfus Affair awakened anti-Semitism in France. It affected all levels of society, and everyone was debating about the trial and where Jews fit in France. Being a reporter for the trial, I came across the crowds chanting, "Death to the Jews," and how anti-Semitism didn't go away for as long as I can remember.
How did your prior education and beliefs inspire you to report on the Dreyfus Affair?
I have witnessed acts of anti-Semitism at the University of Vienna, where I studied journalism. Then being a journalist, I reported on the Dreyfus Affair, again witnessing anti-Semitism.
Zionism is a movement of Jews and their homeland in the territory referred to as Palestine. This affair raised awareness for Zionism, being that Dreyfus was a Jew and his religious background made him a suspect for writing the letters to Germany. After Herzl died in 1904, the leadership of Zionism moved to Berlin. Zionism represented the minority of Jews, and they even had their own newspaper and ways of media. Eventually, in 1948, Herzl's original goal was achieved, and it was proclaimed that the State of Israel would be established. After the affair in 1907, Alfred Dreyfus retired from the army. However, he re-entered during World War I. The Dreyfus Affair left France divided for years and remains a key event in French history.
Now graduating. This is a very small space for us to all be in.
Oh no, I have it. What is Dreyfus about?
And the whole time I worked on my case, I knew my client was innocent. I messed up again.
Emile Zola. So, what was Dreyfus about?
I didn't realize I was so close to your face. Are you leaving me? Not because I poked your head.
He's like, mad. Silent human.
My perfect angel. He's in his natural habitat. In his chair. Do you have anything you would like to say to the camera? No.